Did you see that where it was talking about the initiation, though?
I didn't look at recent stuff. I was looking at original, where these
That's what I'm
symbols came
referring
from.
to.
This was in 1981. It
Right.
started because people wanted to say that a body part was initiating some kind of action.
Tell me when we can.
I already started.
Oh, we're starting.
It actually was 79 ICL, if I remember correctly. It was in 79 ICL that this was approved, the horizontal touch bow, showing which side was actively doing something. And then in 81, people needed a bow to show a body part initiating a movement. And Anne recommended that we take the passing state vertical bow
And add the thing.
add
Right.
the accent, and because
I
it's
suggested that.
yes,
It says in
and
the minutes
because
that
it's
you
at the
did.
beginning, that's why it became
Right.
initiation. Because you add
Right. We're gonna sign.
But why hasn't this entered?
We need to deal with this whole thing. Vera Maletich, you know, in her book, she made use of signs like that.
But we've been using them in our scores for 30 years. For God's sake.
Let's
To
make
initiate.
initiate.
One of the things I want to do in the 10th Advanced Flower Notation book on body variations, we've done spatial body variations, is where the movement appears, the initiation. Sigurd Lader was very involved with that idea. The point of interest, the point of origin, and I think it would be a valuable addition to the system. So that's another whole.
It's a whole other topic. I think that we definitely
We're going to leave it for now.
We bet. Yeah. I mean, this is and you know, people. I know that people in the LMA community. There's a whole big thing on the Theory Bulletin Board about it. But can we leave this now? And I will make sure when we have our next get together, this would be a wonderful topic. Maybe I can convince Anne to Skype with us from London, and then we could have another meeting with that. But anyway, we do want to stay on track and go forward to Lynne's presentation discussion.
Sure.
So do you want to until?
No, but just reset. Start all over.
Okay.
I would like to start by passing out something here.
You want to turn this so Brenton can see?
So
what do we
stop
got?
and start.
Lynne is going to,
45.
her ICL paper.
But then, Lynne, are you gonna write something?
Mira, do you want to turn the thing so he can see?
Yes,
Lynne
I'll
to
write
begin
it.
with?
Hi, I'm going to write on the board.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
okay.
maybe it's better actually for recording purpose if you can stand in front of the board,
Okay.
Great.
and then you can.
Oh, how is Brenton?
You can erase it.
I don't
Yeah.
know. Brenton
Yeah.
is going to be challenging because I didn't know that she was going to do this, but
Oh, great.
Is it okay to erase this?
maybe.
Yeah, it's okay.
All right, I just screenshot that. Thank you.
What did you do?
Screenshot.
Oh, you screenshot it.
Oh,
What, you can screenshot when you're on
Yeah.
Skype.
Yeah.
Well, that's a great way to do it. There you go.
I want the one on the right.
Oh, okay.
But it's right. This is what I'm going to start with.
What? Well, just hold on. Just wait a minute.
Can I have a
I'm not
copy?
saying it's hard.
Ray, can I have a copy of the paper?
Another call coming in. We can hear you.
Yeah, you got to be careful. Privacy. You know. Tell
That's
the
why-
person. Be careful not to say anything.
That's why I don't like Skyping, because you have to sit there I love the phone because then I'm washing the dishes, I'm cooking,
And you don't have to.
You haven't seen what I'm doing with my lower body.
I'm filling in low-level symbols in my score.
And Brenton, when he was writing to me last night, he said, well, is it on the video? Do I have to comb my hair?
Yeah, a little bit.
It's the wrist, no? It's on the symbol, it's red.
Yes.
Oh, on the right.
Laura, I'm sorry, it's Laura. Right.
The lower.
Better. So thank you. Okay. So I would like people, before we and don't look at Anne as you do it, I would like people to read this. This is design drawing, and the surface, we're drawing a design with the surface being on the ceiling. Okay, this is a roping scene from Billy the Kid. Okay, okay, but do you move forward? The big question here is, do you move forward as you're doing it?
Backward.
Or do
Because
you
if I was doing it here,
Each one.
if I'm doing it on the front to the front, it's this way. So if I just bring the paper up, then I have to go this way, following the rule that I just pulled.
Okay, okay, Charlotte.
Well, there are
Yeah.
two things. If this takes that amount of time on the page, then it takes that amount of time to do it.
I don't want to get into timing at all.
But you just asked the question.
Forward. No, I just the question I asked was forward. Do you move forward?
Yes,
in
that's
this
what I'm
move?
saying.
Yes, you're saying that, and Charlotte is
And I
saying you're
haven't-
moving
But I
backward in
haven't
it.
finished saying it.
Then say
Is
it. Say it, Ray.
If you're moving forward the whole time, you need a bow at the end to say, while you're doing this, you're going to end up here.
Well, here you.
Without the bow at the end, you do it here and
Oh.
then go there.
It shouldn't rest on whether
Okay.
you have a bow or not.
Okay,
Yeah,
now
but-
wait a minute. This is the discussion. Ray is saying that the motion itself goes in a forward direction, and Charlotte is saying the motion itself goes in a backward direction.
Because I just take my paper
And
and go
if
like
you
this.
read the Hutchinson text,
Which one?
the one that I have there underneath, if you lift up the blue paper, if you take the piece of paper moves this way, the piece of paper moves up to the ceiling. Therefore, this motion moves in a backward direction, so that you're roping, and then you go forward. Correct, Anne? What I have found in teaching it, and for my own personal experience, when I read it, I do exactly what Ray thinks should be done, which is, if it moves forward on the page, I like it to go forward. That's what is intuitively part of my makeup.
That's not
And-
what I meant to say.
It's not
I'm
what
just
you meant
saying
to
you
say.
do this and then go there.
I'm not talking, I'm just talking about this
It's
part.
on the top
This part,
surface.
Then you reach out. But do you go like this? Or do you go like this?
You're drawing on the ceiling in
You're
this.
drawing on the ceiling. The thing is,
So if
wrist is
you're drawing
drawing on
on,
the
if
ceiling.
this
No, I
tells you
understand all that.
So,
Well, we
so
don't
are you
understand your
going on
point.
this? Are you saying you're going on the ceiling this way, or are you saying you're going on the ceiling?
No, I'm
So-
saying you draw it on the ceiling
Right.
and then do this.
But
But no, but then the counterclockwise.
I can't hear three people at the same
we're
time.
asking you, yes, we agree with everything you just said. We're asked what we don't understand from what you just said. Are you moving your spiral in a forward direction or in a backward direction?
I'm doing what I'm doing what it says.
You take the piece of paper. What we
I
were
know.
always taught is you
And then
take the
draw
piece
what-
of paper,
Draw
you
what
put
you
it on
see.
the surface, and then
And
you
you have to
draw what
You
you see.
Exactly.
And move forward.
May I
Then you put your
add
paper
to
down
that?
and you repeat it.
May I add to that?
Yes.
You put the piece of paper in front of you. You do the pattern as though it's in front of you. Then you take the same physical activity and just do it overhead.
Yes.
So practice in the forward and then
I
displace
know
it.
we all.
It's like
I
skew
agree.
curves.
Okay, I agree
You twist
with
and then
everything
tilt,
that
and
Anna
then you
said,
skew.
that that's what it says in the book. I would contend that I would like the rule changed. Because I find this counterintuitive, and when I teach it to students, students will look at it and they'll automatically assume that the pattern moves in a forward direction. They will not read it properly. And I've had that happen over and over again.
I'm really confused when you keep saying forward direction.
That this
No,
moves.
no, it doesn't. It doesn't move anywhere.
Right.
The bow. No, hold on. Time out. Let me explain what I'm reading. Just let me explain because okay, the bow just says that this is design drawing, and it says how long you have to do it in. The ceiling tells you the surface that you're doing it on. There's nothing about forward or back action. It just says do this design on the ceiling, and at the end of the bow, the arm moves forward middle.
Right.
There's nothing about forward action. If you wanted the surface to change, then you would need to indicate
I'm
that
not
with
saying that.
surfaces changing
I'm
over
saying-
the course of the
I'm saying,
bow.
what is the design that you're drawing?
The
Most
design-
people who are drawing the
Erase this.
design that I've found in
He
classes
is, I think.
will draw the wrong design. They will not draw the design going this way.
Well, then that's a
They
problem
will,
with their
that's,
reading.
it's a problem with, I believe, how we interpret this in the system, and I would like it changed, because what I would like to do is to turn the page this way, so that something indicating a pattern going in what we normally think of as forward would then go forward. What happens with the system
You keep
is,
using
may
the
I
word
finish?
forward.
May
I don't
finish?
understand what forward means. No, I can't move forward with you because I don't understand when you keep saying move forward.
Okay,
Because
let
there's
me-
no forward action.
No, I'm not saying there's a forward action. I'm saying the pattern goes forward. Let's say the pattern is this. Does it move forward to you,
Tell
or does it
Brenton I'm
move
gonna,
backwards
That's not-
to
we
you?
know, we're gonna get to him in a minute.
Normally, something
When
which
they
would
finish,
go from
promise.
there, the design is, so as not to be confusing with spiraling, I'm moving it what one would think of as forward.
In that one, you draw the design forward on
See,
the
Ray?
surface.
See, Ray sees it as being forward, whereas the rule in Anne's text is that design would go like this.
Right, because if
And
Right.
I disagree with that rule. I would like it changed. That pattern, if you design it, draw it on the ceiling, goes like that.
Brenton's had his hand up for a long time. Let's give him a chance.
yeah.
And then we're
And
gonna give
then
Anne a
Anne.
chance.
All
First
right,
Brenton and
this
then
is
Anne.
a great discussion. I'm going to slightly disagree with the proposal, but for different reasons, because I want to actually talk to or speak to what the issue is. I think the theory is there, like we can understand what the theory is. Yes, there is, I think, a practice of reading. On the other hand, I think what Lynne's raising is that there is a common problem. And I think part of the issue about this directionality, has to do with the fact that the symbol, the design as written, it's a little bit blending two different kind of space-time continua. But if you look at the drawing, the design is drawn as if it is part of the normal, let's say part of the normal motif progression. And so there is this potential for confusion. I actually like this, like the existing orientation change, like moving the paper up. But I think that the design itself is not broken out enough from the motif to make a student aware that it is not part of the normal motif progression.
Now, I want to point out that I am not saying to change, and I think it's brilliant. I think this design drawing, I love it. I use it. What I would like to do is have a continuum so that 50% of your circle, your kinespheric circle, you make the change. So that once you hit the ceiling, something like that would end up going that way instead of being a drawing that goes that way. That's all I'm saying. When you do design drawing, where the paper is changes, so that when you're drawing on the floor, that is very clear to people. People understand it, they get it easily. When you're drawing in the front, they understand it well. And what has happened is, in order for people to read better, the paper flips over as soon as it gets behind you, correct? Your
And
paper changes orientation
No,
so that
no.
forward top, it doesn't. It would then be written downward,
No,
No.
according to the book.
no.
If I may,
Sure.
first of all, you seem to be equating the fact that you write up the page or forward means that the design drawing moves forward. That's only time element. So shouldn't come into the picture. The next thing is the design drawing you have. I wonder whether it shouldn't be a circle and then 3, and not, you have written it as changing placement in space.
It is a change of placement. What happens is, it's a roping, so that they go back and then they.
So you don't
That's
want
what
just
it is.
3
Right.
circles.
No. And in
Okay.
fact,
Design.
that's right.
That's
The
fine.
design is,
I just wanted to.
the design is going backwards and then roping a calf.
Yes.
Does it get
Now,
any clearer
What would
if
be the surface
around the
behind you,
design
Anne?
we
Wait.
like put a rectangle around the whole thing so it
Well,
resembles a
there
piece
are
of
there are
paper?
ways around it. There are definitely ways around it, and Anne has some in the advanced text. But it is an asymmetrical thing. When you hit the bottom, when you go to back low, and your surface is on back low, the paper orientation changes.
May I come in there? I spent hours on writing on the back high surface, writing on the back middle, the back low, the diagonal surface,
Yes.
so you're going back.
and came to the decision that before you turn yourself into a pretzel,
Just a minute. Just a minute, Ann. I want them to hear what you're saying. Okay. All right. Now,
I
Ann,
haven't used
something.
design drawing in a long time, so this may not be quite accurate.
Ann,
but,
say what you were
but
saying.
we have a way of.
Wait.
Wait,
Ann was
wait.
talking and I interrupted her because, so Ann, you said something about you were working for hours.
I've tried every possible surface, and particularly the backward surface, and came to the conclusion that if the backward surface doesn't necessarily mean your arm is backward. So if you're using that surface, place the paper in front of you, physically do the movement, and then imagine the back surface and do the same thing.
I
Physically
agree
the same
completely. I
thing.
absolutely.
So that it simplified this idea of, does like 38 notation. The paper always faces the front wherever you are, or do you turn the paper, how much,
And
that was such a message.
I absolutely agree, and I think it's brilliant. And I would contest that if you did that with the floor and you moved the paper up that way, you would get what I am saying, just the opposite of what you have in the book. Because the flip is not 50%. You don't have 50% of your surfaces the same way.
I'm saying go back, because she keeps wanting to go back.
All right, wait a minute. We're interrupting each other.
I would just think from a teaching point of view.
Wait a minute. We've got too many people at the same time. Let's let that. Okay. Now, Lynne, then Sandra and Mira, and then Ray. Go.
No.
Does it give me 4?
Yeah,
Yes,
yes.
I try to figure out what she's
Because the
trying to
notator can't figure it out. How are you going to teach
I-
it to students?
I always have to look up design drawing because I use it so
there's
rarely.
nothing wrong with it.
So it's just I look up I go through into my advanced texts
Yeah.
and review the theory because I use it so rarely.
I agree with that.
And
You know, that's what
Just-
reference texts are for,
There you go.
just
to look
as
it up.
Anne just said, if you draw something on the front, how would you draw it on the back surface?
As though it
In-
were in front of
As
you.
if it were in front of you. I would like to draw a surface on the ceiling as if I'm drawing it on the floor. So something like that would be the same movement. I would like it to be, but in actuality, because of the way the rule was made,
Oh.
it's the opposite of
I
that.
draw on the
Lynne.
floor.
If I can pick up on
Yes,
that. So on the floor, you're doing that.
yes,
Right.
All right.
yes,
So you're going to do that physical motion
yes.
on the ceiling.
On the ceiling, put your hand here, you're drawing it on
And
the
you will
ceiling.
do that.
You don't.
You do.
You're
But
putting, here,
there are
here, your hand is down,
It's on the,
your hand is down. Put your hand down.
I have my hearing aids in.
I'm sorry. So put your hand on, you're
Just
gonna
a
draw it on
minute.
the surface, but your hand is gonna be on the dot.
Okay, I'm drawing on the floor,
Yes,
and the arm movement is that.
right.
So I'm going to take that same
Oh,
arm
no,
movement
put your hand here. Do it on the,
overhead.
no, but you're doing it on the ceiling surface, but your hand is in the same place. Just like
So
you
you-
said, draw it here, but you're going to be drawing it on the back surface.
here, do it on the,
Put,
So-
put your hand in the same place,
Please.
put it on, draw it with the thing, draw
but
like
your
this.
surface is now here. Draw
Do
it.
it on the paper and then put it up and do it and see where it would be, you know what I mean? Put it up, if you draw on
Wait
the.
a minute, wait a minute. So Lynn wants me to have my arm down. Just a minute.
Yes, here it is.
Until I'm doing the letter F.
Right, now you're
Now
gonna do it
put
on the
it-
ceiling. What I propose is, no,
Put
you're
it
gonna
on
put your hand down. Just as
Well,
you have the hand
I
here.
have my arm down, but I have the image of a ceiling
Right,
surface.
so it's,
Why do I need it?
Please.
I don't need it.
well,
The
it's,
floor image is so much more
no, I am
practical.
just using it as
Choose
your
the
exact
one
material.
that is similar.
You
So you're
have
choosing something.
your paper,
Why would you
the
think of
reason
the
is,
ceiling when your arm is down here?
the reason you would do that is your paper is here. You have a piece of paper you're drawing on, you put it there. There could be a reason for it, but I am saying it in order to illustrate your exact point of that versus doing it on the back surface. It is the exact point you made,
I
whether you
think
choose it to
Sandra
do
was
here
next.
or choose it to do here, the same pattern.
Down here,
Let's
down
say your
here,
arm is in front of
switch
you.
it. You start at the
The
dot.
ceiling
draw
surface should
that
have
way.
the same movement.
That's why you have the dot,
floor.
to say where to begin.
Right now,
So when you're on the ceiling, when you're on the floor, right, the dot says begin here. It's like a starting position. So you put wherever you are, the dot says here, and then you just draw the design in the direction away from the dot.
Mira,
There you go. On the ceiling, there's the dot.
and
You draw away from the direction of the dot, and you draw that way.
I understand.
I have a
Wait,
question.
wait,
It's quite easy, but it gets
We've got Ray.
Only because people don't understand the theory, and it's not that
But the
complicated.
theory, I think, should change because and the
But it
reason,
may be because they were confused because you're confused.
I am not confused. I understand it. I've taught it.
it's Ray,
I
and then,
your students
Well,
have
the-
a lot of trouble.
Every time when
And
it's
every
taught,
link,
it
That
does
doesn't have to do with how you present.
Order, order, order.
No, I present
Order.
I
Order.
present it with your
Order.
page.
all right,
But what I
Ray.
find they do is they
Nobody's
misread.
hearing
Every
anything.
time it gets put in front of them,
Hold
they
it. Hold
misread.
it. May's not a notator. What does May have to say?
Ray.
I have a question. In terms of that,
God.
can I?
She's not a notator. but
Yeah, because I'm
so
not a
she's-
notator, so like if you start from here, right, you go forward. If you looking at from the floor pattern, but then if it start like
then where is the starting point is my question.
above.
It's
Just
like
above.
directly above you.
Yeah. Well, it could
And
be
then go-
anywhere where you were starting.
Then that's
The
different
pattern-
because you could start from here to here or here.
No. This one says above.
Well, this doesn't tell you where your hand is. Your hand could be down here.
Yeah, that's
Take the piece of paper.
Your hand
Yeah,
could
I
be
know.
anywhere. It's
So
just that
here,
the surface,
here, right?
the surface
The
is
surface is
here.
placed low. You
Yeah.
put the piece of paper here.
Yeah, and then
now
go
draw.
forward.
Now, if it's in front of you, put your hand where the dot is and draw up. If it's on top,
Oh, okay.
All right, we're gonna do.
Ray.
Oh,
see,
what's her name? What's her name?
This is Tessa,
Hi,
6 years old.
Tessa is a beauty. Wait a minute. I would
Ray
like,
first.
as a moderator, to moderate and say we've got, I think it's Brenton is next, and then it's Ray, and then it's Sandra.
oh, can I say something really quick? Because it's a
Okay.
technical thing. It's not a elusive
Okay.
thing. I think the conundrum for you is with design drawing, you cannot think in terms of forward and back or diagonal or up and down or whatever. All you can do is draw. That's why it's called design drawing. There is no forward or back. There is just simply drawing the design on the surface that is indicated. So here it's not up and down. It's just you are drawing the visual representation of whatever that pattern is.
Right.
Even if I'm spiraling, it may have an upward action depending on what's happening in the arm gesture, because the arm may be moving from side middle to side high. So is the spiral, is the design drawing moving up? No, it's not. The arm is moving up, but the design is just simply the design. So by you equating with the surfaces a gravitational kind of thing,
I wasn't equating with gravitation.
no, but you keep saying forward and back the
Yeah,
minute
it's
you
just-
start talking about the ceiling, and that's a problem because it's not about forward and back. Am I correct?
It's a weird.
Am I?
Can we do Brenton next, and then
Ray.
Ray?
Actually, I'll pass in here what you guys have to say first.
Okay.
I'll raise my hand if I need to jump back in.
I just
Okay.
think there are two things involved. If you put the design in front of you and you do the physical movement, what you're reproducing is the physical movement, not the design. When you do this, when you go up here, you're reproducing the physical movement, which is going to give the design that you saw here. If you get rid of that idea and go to this example here, on the surface at the back, forget about putting it in front of you and doing it down there. You put it at the back, I see there's the starting point, and it goes forward. I just draw what I see on the ceiling instead of transposing it somewhere else and doing a physical movement and reproducing the movement.
That's what Lynne wants to do, is what you're saying. See, Lynne, what you're talking about is
Yeah, I just want to draw what I see on the ceiling.
and you intuitively want to do it this
Yes.
way, and that's Lynn's point.
Exactly. And if I draw it on here, I want it to be the same as if I draw it on the floor surface.